Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Folks, it's been a while, but guess who's back? John Daly taking a stroll down victory lane and honoring the king on his way, kissing the umbrella for Arnold Palmer and kissing it in and winning for the first time on the PGA Tour Champions. John Daly takes the Insperity Invitational. You're going to see those highlights. Plus, what a finish we had at the Wells Fargo Championship. It all came down to the 72nd hole. Brian Harman from 28 feet to win outright and avoid a playoff. Get some. Harman gets his second career PGA Tour victory in thrilling fashion by birdieing the last. Welcome to Golf Central. I'm George Savarikis with Golf Channel analysts Brian Bateman and Trevor Immelman. Guys, what a day. Let's start with John Daly. His last win came on the PGA Tour in 2004, Trevor. Good to see him get back into form. What surprised you the most about this week from JD?
Well, we've always known his prodigious talent, and everybody knows his story. Everybody loves JD. He's been so open and honest with his story, his battles over the years. Everybody roots for him. I mean, we were back there in the analyst room, glued to the TV, watching him come down the stretch, trying to hold it together.
Leaking oil on the last.
And it was just so exciting, that low iron shot he hit into the 18th and then got away with his first victory, his 22nd start in the PGA Tour Champions. Man, I was really happy for him. It was a great moment.
And on the PGA Tour, what a finish for Brian Harman.
Well, I couldn't be more prouder of Brian Harman. He lives there at Sea Island where I live and where many other PGA Tour players live. And really just stuck to his guns all week, was playing well, played into his, tried to get his wedges as close as he could, made a lot of putts, and what a clutch putt on 18 after a kind of an indifferent pitch shot. So congratulations to him on win number 2.
It seemed like all the focus was on Dustin Johnson or Jon Rahm, and then it's the 5'7" Brian Harman getting the job done. Let's check out the highlights from the final round. And world number 1, Dustin Johnson, put together quite the finish on Saturday and Sunday. Here he is for birdie on 2.
Yeah, off to a great start here at the second. A beautiful 18-footer for birdie. To be 1 under through 2, and you're thinking something may happen today.
He was at 5 under for the tournament for another birdie on 4.
Looks to me like he just widened his stance on the putter over the last couple days and started making some on Sunday.
So DJ now at 6 under after birdie at 12, his second to 13.
This is where he's improved so much, and really all week long he's hit his wedge shots close, just has not been able to convert the birdie putts, but on wedges like that, not a problem to 5 feet where he would make the putt and make birdie.
So he was at 8 under. DJ, who made the cut on the number at 1 over, now just 1 off the lead. Jon Rahm, his second to the par 3 10th.
And we saw him chip in to finish yesterday on 18. And here again on 10, that one never looked like missing. What a great shot.
Rahm fired up because he's at 8 under, just 1 shot back as well. Now his third to the par 5 12th.
So he's got tremendous length off the tee, hits his irons on a string, and these little wedge shots, these little controlled, spinny wedge shots is where he's excellent as well. That was a beautiful shot to 6 feet where he would also make birdie.
So he was at 9 under, your co-leader, Patrick Reed, here at the par 4 11th.
Big long swing, gets that face wide open. Spanks the sand with the bounce of the club through impact. Beautifully played, got himself 6 or 7 feet. And unfortunately, a little light on the speed, and that is a bogey for Patrick.
So Reed had the lead entering the final round at that point, fell back to 8 under, 1 back. Brian Harman, second to 14.
Yeah, the very difficult 14th hole here at Eagle Point. Not many birdies here today on this long par 4, and a beautiful iron shot from 174. Can't do much better than that, George, just a kick-in birdie.
So Brian Harman joins the party at 9 under par. Now a lengthy birdie effort, the next hole.
From about 40 feet here, just trying to gauge the speed down the hill. Look at all that break. And a little tentative here. You don't want to be leaving yourself too many of these length putts coming down the stretch on Sunday.
That will test your mettle. It's Harman trying to clean up his par.
And I thought this was a must-make at this point. And when I saw this slip by, I really did think his chances were over.
I thought he was cooked. He still had 3 holes to go, but with that bogey, fell 1 back to 8 under par. Dustin Johnson, closing hole.
After a massive 340-yard drive, going for this green and 2, setting up for a high left-to-right fade and double crosses a little bit. Not too bad a spot left of the green. As long as he didn't have any tree trouble, as you can see, he did not.
Trevor, here's where he struggled earlier in the week and seemed to turn around a bit on Sunday.
Big swing from DJ. You can see he knows straight away the contact wasn't what he wanted. Leaves himself with a lengthy putt for birdie and a putt he knows he needs to make.
So Dustin Johnson from 14 feet to post 9 under.
Trevor, now we were watching this putt. Both of us said, he's going to make this.
That's what world number ones do, Brian.
Dustin Johnson, your clubhouse leader at 9 under par, the gallery giving it to him because he went 67-67, posted 10 under on the weekend alone. Pat Perez for birdie, 16.
He has been putting just beautifully. Left hand low. Watch the reaction here.
No chance. Oh, thank you. I'll take it.
That's a beautiful reaction.
That
right there.
is.
Pat praising the golf gods.
Accepting the love. And I thought this was such a beautiful play. He laid up to here on the par 5, even though he could reach, left himself with an easier pitch up the hill, and just plays this to perfection with all the pressure on the line. Leaves himself an uphill putt inside the right for that birdie on 18.
So he also posts 9 under par. Rom, your co-leader, par 315.
You can see he took the ball way up in the air, and I think the wind ate this one up because he likes it, but it comes up short, and the bunker rolls back down onto the downslope, short of the green, short sided to the flagstick. And now for his second shot, does not have much chance here. Has the club face wide open. And really, this is about all he could do. Just hope to make a 10 or 15 footer for par. Just a mistake off the tee from Jon Rahm.
So he would make bogey, drop a shot, so he's at 8 under par, one back of the co-leaders. Brian Harman, par 4, 17.
Now after that 3-putt, he really needs to get something going on these final 2 holes. Just a beautiful swing. Look at the balance there, holding his finish. And that is a tremendous shot on 17.
So Brian Harman tossing his hat back in the ring. Birdies that hole. He's at 9 under par. You see Pat and DJ, they're hanging at 9 under. They just think, all right, Brian Parr's the last. Let's have a little playoff at the Wells Fargo Championship. We move to the 18th hole. Harman playing his 3rd.
Very similar to where Dustin Johnson was a few groups before, and it just comes up a little bit short, hangs up in the thicker rough, leaves himself a long 25-footer. But as only champions could do, he has to regroup. Dustin Johnson looking on, probably expecting a playoff. But Brian Harman, this is the strength of his game.
No chance. Drops it.
Buries it for the win. Love the reaction.
Reaction is phenomenal as Brian Harman wins the Wells Fargo Championship on the 72nd hole, getting his 2nd career PGA Tour victory. A final round 68 as we look at that final leaderboard from Wilmington, North Carolina. Dustin Johnson, Pat Perez in a tie for 2nd. Smiley Kaufman, a nice final round, gets into a tie for 5th. Brian Harman spoke with Todd Lewis after getting the W.
You dream about winning on the 72nd hole, and that's what Brian did today. Brian, just talk about first your 3rd shot and then that 4th shot being that wonderful putt you went to.
Yeah, when I saw my ball at first, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have a pretty good chip. And then when I dropped it, and just the lie just had some trees. I really wanted to go high with it, but the trees were kind of in the way. But I knew that if I got it on the green, I'd at least have a good look at it. And I wanted a little better look at it than that, but I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
What were the emotions when you saw that ball drop?
Oh, I couldn't. I mean, I could believe it because I've been rolling it so well this week. But that was about a foot short of it. And I said, that one's going home.
Winning your first one on the PGA Tour, the John Deere, a few years ago, obviously is special, but validating that victory with the 2nd win.
Yeah.
How tough do you think it was to get this victory, and what does it mean to you?
It was really tough. After I won the first one, I kind of thought I was going to be there a lot, and it didn't work out that way. And I've struggled the next 2 years. Just didn't have, I had good years on tour, but just never really got into the hunt like I wanted to. And I started getting to the hunt beginning of this year and started feeling like it was starting to come around. So I'm glad that it got validated today.
Final thing, you get a lot of accolades with this victory. You moved top 10 in the FedEx Cup standings as well. Now that you have this 2nd victory, is this optimism in your mind back now as you move forward?
Yeah, it is. I know that if I stick to what I know how to do, then I can compete. And that's the biggest thing out here is just believing that you can compete.
You took down some mighty good players today, including Jon Rahm and number 1 Dustin Johnson. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks so much, bro.
Brian Harman, winner of the Wells Fargo Championship, guys.
All righty, thank you, Todd. So from one Sea Island guy to another. Brian Harman, as far as getting ready for the Wells Fargo Championship, what about his game was trending in the right way, and why was he able to have such success at Eagle Point?
Well, he made a field trip up to Eagle Point with his agent, Mac Barnhart, his good friend, Pat Gazire, Hudson Swafford, Harris English a couple of weeks ago to scout the golf course. They played it a few times, did some homework. He came back working with his longtime instructor, Jack Lumpkin, who was Davis Love's instructor forever and ever. He just works really hard on his game, and he spends a lot of time on the practice tee because around the greens, he's so good with his putting and his chipping. It's a long time coming for him. He's been playing really well this year. He's finished top 15 3 out of his last 4 starts. I'm not surprised at all to see him play well. You saw where he did not get out of his element on the golf course today, played into his wedges and tried to convert the putts.
How much carryover do you think there was from what we saw post-Masters, that little run he had leading up to this event?
Yeah, well, he's definitely been trending in the right direction. 9th at Hilton Head, and he said he felt like he had a good shot to win there. He was a little disappointed that he didn't get it done. 14th at Zurich, so his game's trending in the right direction. And not many people know about him too much, just average golf fans, but he's a tremendous player. No weaknesses in his game, hits it a lot further than what you would think, moves the ball both ways, really has every shot in the bag. And so, you know, for a guy like me who's been around the tour for a long time, you spent a lot of time with him, really not surprised at all. This young man has the game to win at any venue, really.
Mentally, what does it do for a guy? Obviously, it's hard to win just a single tournament on the PGA Tour, but when you get that second one after a little gap, what does that do for you going forward?
Makes you want to get the third. But it'll give him a lot of confidence. I mean, look, he was staring some pretty well-established players, the world #1 in the eye down the stretch, John Rahm, who we're all talking about. Brian thinks John's going to get more than 5 majors. He took the over on
yes,
that.
Yes, I do.
So he stared some really great players in the face down the stretch today and came out on top, and I think that is going to give him a lot of confidence going into the meat of the schedule.
And what's it like to have a putt like this?
Right, you know, knowing him, he's always kind of had a chip on his shoulder. He works extremely hard on his game. Like I said, his confidence around the greens is undeniable. The flop shot that he hit, that it wasn't his best, green side at the third from a tough lie, didn't faze him at all. I mean, I'm sure he got over the putt and saw the line. He'd been putting extremely well all week and was expecting to make it. And that's just the way Brian Harman thinks when he gets on the green with that putter.
We still have much more to come on this edition of Golf Central. There was a guy who won the Wells Fargo just 2 years ago who wasn't in the field this week at Eagle Point. What's former world #1 Rory McIlroy doing to get ready for the Players? And it had been a long time coming for Long John, but soak up the champagne. We're going to hear from the Insperity Invitational champ ahead, and Ariat Jutanugarn in the finals of the Lorena Ochoa match play. Could she get the job done in Mexico City? We'll be right back.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Wells Fargo Championship. Bushnell Golf and the Pro X2 with enhanced slope switch technology.